Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in less than 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. Today, why President Trump's charity is closing and the bill that got Congress to compromise. Plus, Elon Musk reveals his underground tunnel and the competition begins at the box office. Those stories and many more in less than 10 minutes. I'm Erica Mandy. Today is Wednesday, December 19th. You ready? Let's do this. The Donald J. Trump Foundation is closing for good. The New York Times says the nonprofit will have to give away all of its assets under court supervision. So why is this happening? A lawsuit by the New York Attorney General. She says what was supposed to be a charity was actually just a way to help Trump in both business and politics. Her accusations include the foundation illegally coordinating with Trump's presidential campaign and the time the foundation bought a $10,000 portrait of Trump for one of his golf clubs. The foundation's lawyer says the attorney general is making misleading statements and that the foundation has spent all of its money on charitable causes. But the New York AG says this investigation isn't over yet. Stay tuned. Well, this is being called a surprise twist, bizarre and dramatic. It all happened in what was supposed to be the sentencing hearing for the president's former national security advisor, Michael Flynn. Instead, the Washington Post reports the sentencing was delayed, and the judge took 8 full minutes to show what he called his disgust for Flynn's crime. He told Flynn, quote, "Arguably, you sold your country out." Flynn pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI as part of a plea deal. He's been cooperating with prosecutors in the Russia investigation. Some say this is a good reminder to the country how serious lying to the FBI is, but critics say the judge went too far. It's official, bump stocks are illegal. They're the things that turn semi-automatic weapons into automatic weapons, which basically means you can shoot faster. Instead of having to pull the trigger each time, bump stocks let you just hold it down. Bump stocks got more attention because one was used in the Las Vegas shooting last year. And after that, President Trump said, yep, they should go. Now, the Justice Department is making it happen. Gun control advocates say it's a good step, but it only scratches the surface of what needs to be done. The NRA, on the other hand, told NBC News the rule should have allowed current owners to keep them. The new federal rule means people who already own bump stocks will have 90 days to turn them in or destroy them. Some are calling this the most significant change to the criminal justice system in a generation. Congress has come together to pass a prison reform bill. It's called the First Step Act. The House had already passed it, and the Senate passed it last night. Now President Trump is expected to sign this bill into law this week. CBS News explains the bill gives judges more discretion when sentencing some cases and gives a boost to prison rehabilitation. It also lowers some mandatory minimum sentences for some nonviolent drug crimes. President Trump said it shows bipartisanship is possible. A new warning is out about teens and vaping. The U.S. Surgeon General issued an advisory and called the use of e-cigarettes by young people an official epidemic, a word he says he doesn't use lightly. He called on parents and teachers to make sure they learn about vaping themselves and then talk to their kids about it. In fact, the New York Times reports parents have to realize that their teen could be addicted to nicotine and offered ways to help. So I'll link to those resources in today's show notes. And yes, we've talked about this topic on the show before because it is an ongoing problem. Federal regulators have been looking into the vaping industry, and we've already seen some changes to the marketing that could be attracting kids. She was a sitcom star and a well-known Hollywood director, but this week Variety reports Penny Marshall died. Marshall starred in the hit comedy from the 70s and 80s, Laverne and Shirley. She went on to become the first woman to direct a film that grossed more than $100 million with movies like Big and A League of Their Own, and many more successes like Awakenings. She died at her home from complications from diabetes. Marshall was 75. Elon Musk's Boring Company unveiled its tunnel project, giving VIPs and reporters a ride last night for the first time. Remember, Elon Musk said he was going to build tunnels to avoid LA traffic, and because it's Elon Musk, he's actually doing it, or at least starting to. It's a test tunnel, just more than a mile long. TechCrunch reports Musk is calling it the Boring Loop, and it's smaller than a subway. The Tesla used for the test ride has retractable wheels, but the AP reports it was a pretty bumpy ride. Musk said that's only temporary. The test car went about 40 miles per hour, but eventually the future plan is to get it up to 150 miles per hour. Again, this is just a test. It's meant to prove the concept for a new type of transportation at this point and show how to make tunneling cheaper. Want more from that story and other tech news of the day? Then check out this week's sponsor. The Techmeme Ride Home podcast is a daily 20-minute long tech news roundup with all the latest news, context, conversation, and tweets from the world of tech. And it's not just one-sentence headlines. It'll tell you what people in Silicon Valley are saying and thinking about it all. For 15 years, Techmeme.com has been the tech world's favorite news source. Now the Ride Home is a daily summary of all of Techmeme's headlines, but in podcast form, so you can listen on the go. And I know, because you're listening to this show, that you will love the convenience of getting a variety of sources and perspectives from the tech industry in one place, and in just minutes each day. Techmeme Ride Home is ready for you at 5 p.m. each weekday, so yes, perfect for that ride home. So search your podcast app for Ride Home and subscribe to the Techmeme Ride Home podcast for free. Now back to the news. Well, speaking of tech news, I have one more for you. AT&T is taking its 5G network live, sort of. CNET says the faster 5G network will only be available in parts of a dozen U.S. cities. Those include Atlanta, Dallas, Indianapolis, and more. And even then, not everyone there can use it. First of all, there are no mobile devices that work with 5G yet. Wired reports for now it'll only work if you have a new and specific Wi-Fi hotspot, and there's limited supply. It'll also cost you after the first 90 days. We're talking $70 per month. Eventually, Wired says 5G is expected to offer speeds 200 times faster than today's 4G wireless networks. But this first round isn't quite there yet. It's a busy time for delivery workers. Business Insider reports UPS alone expects to ship about 800 million packages between Thanksgiving and Christmas this year. And that's up about 50 million from 2017. But here's some good news to go along with that. As those holiday packages arrive, delivery workers across the country have been finding gift baskets and messages from grateful homeowners. Pictures have been popping up on social media, and it's inspiring more people to join in on the kind gesture. Delivery workers say it's a welcomed break and makes them smile during the busiest time of the year. The holiday season also means new movies and competition at the box office. Deadline says between now and Christmas, there will be 10 wide releases. And today, Mary Poppins Returns hits theaters. The sequel comes 54 years after the original. This one stars Emily Blunt. But Variety says Aquaman is actually expected to hit number 1 when it's out on Friday. Sorry, Champagne, but it seems Prosecco is taking over. Time reports Prosecco is now the best-selling sparkling wine in the world by volume, and it's cutting into the market share of champagne. That said, champagne is pricier, which means it still brings in more money. So what's the difference between them, at least on a basic level? Experts told Harper's Bazaar it's mainly location and grapes. Champagne only comes from the region of Champagne in northeastern France, and Prosecco is Italian. And sparkling wine is just a broad term for any wine with bubbles. Happy celebrating. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. If you got value out of today's episode, I would so appreciate it if you share it with a friend. And as always, if you want to read more about any of the news stories we talked about, just head to the homepage of thenewsworthy.com, click episodes, and find today's date. The Newsworthy is ready for you to listen every weekday by 4 in the morning, so I'll be back with more news tomorrow. Have a great day.